Harrison Butker based. That is exactly what I titled this little segment. Now, I'm sure people have probably heard, out the woozah of about Harrison's speech and what he said in his speech. And so I'm not going to dive into the exact what he had said in his speech because I think it was great. And I think now there are some small minor points where it's I come from the Protestant, the Protestant Christian worldview. Now, there are some things where I've seen some theologians kind of question where I've stood on the Protestant stuff, but as I'm right now, I am a Protestant. So I did see that there was some Protestant versus Roman Catholic kind of ideological spins going on this. Not even going to bother talking about that because that's such a meaningless fight to be having in the midst what's going on. It's more important that the message of what he was saying is pushed and broadly so. So just a group of these things, man. So we'll start with the fact that the Kansas City Star is calling on him to get fired, which is from Colin Rugg. Let's switch this over here. This is from Colin Rugg. Make myself smaller, actually. So I'm Colin Rugg, right? Said that the Kansas City Star is calling on the Chiefs to fire him and hire a female kicker after Butker advocated for traditional values during his speech. Not joking. So this is what they said, right? The opinion piece quickly notified readers that this was not a joke and it's not unrealistic. It's for poetic justice because of his Neanderthal outbursts. So Harrison Butker can't tell women that they should do what they're traditionally called to do, but the Kansas City Star can call him a caveman, right? It's just it's it's just one of those things where it's you instantly lost the argument because the thing that you're complaining about you did immediately in the first paragraph. But saying that the pipeline of talent is real and that the Kansas City Chiefs need to make sure that their next kicker should be a woman. Just okay, come on. That's a small piece, right? But the big thing is they're going to go after these girls who made their appearances in college, which is here's Sarah Fuller. And there was another one too. There was Maya Turner. I'm not that too familiar with her, but Sarah Fuller was a girl from Vanderbilt. I believe it was Vanderbilt, if I'm correct. Maybe I was wrong. It looks like Navy. Regardless, or no, Mizzou. Who cares? Either way, because it's just irrelevant. It's just a girl kicking haha, clap, and then watch as she gets annihilated on the field because she's not supposed to be there. This is just a small piece of the pie, right? There are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people begging and demanding that Harrison Butker just get eliminated, just gone. I saw a little petition that was signed that had gotten well over 50,000. I think it was approaching 100,000 petition signatures to kick him off of the team. There were a few other fake news pieces that came out about it as well that were relevant to it. But the one that's making the rounds now that I think is going to be very exemplary of women, just dealing with women, is a cheerleader for the Chiefs who put out 2 viral videos. And so we'll go back to back with these real quick. Let's see here. Let me go. It's from Oilfield Rando who clipped this one. Make sure I'll pause it here, get it on full screen, and get my face out of the way. Make sure the sound is okay. So this is so Stephanie Hills, that's her name. She is a cheerleader for the team. Either was, not sure what the current status, but they had a relationship. So and you're going to hear about it.
Common. First and foremost, until a few months ago, we were both employed by the Kansas City Chiefs. I cheered.
I'm going to stop it right there. Dude, insane. All of these mannerisms, in her face, look at her face right now. Look at those eyes, dude. You are insane. Insane, dude. But it's it's this little, look at this. This right here. It's so fake. It's so performative. And if you find yourself talking to your significant others or people in your life like this, stop. Just stop. Because everybody finds it insufferable.
We were both employed by the Kansas City Chiefs. I cheered you on for 6 years straight. And with that, I would assume we went to the same PR training. But since all of that obviously left your fucking brain when you went to go give that speech, I thought I'd be a good coworker. Share my notes. Let's get started. These are fucking vague. Biggest takeaway is you...
See, it's performative, dude. It's so performative. It actually is very bothersome because I know, there are girls who behave and talk like this normally. It's a trend we got to stop.
Now represent $1 billion organization. You are no longer just Harrison Butker. You are now Harrison Butker, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. And anything you say or do that doesn't align with that brand, scissoring just like the lesbians you hated in that video, will be grounds for termination. Common. First and
Right. So this is just a little bit, right? Like, oh my gosh. Like, ugh, dude, like, ugh. It's just like, it's so unbearable. But she made another one, dude. She made a longer one, okay? And this is the one that's a little bit more serious. Let's go right here. Where's it at? There we go. Okay, look at this one, man. So this one's 3 minutes long. And so if I see my viewer count just dropping, like, I understand, I respect it completely. Like, I'm not even going to be mad if you have to drop out, because this was unbearable for me to watch.
I put on a blazer and my finest jewelry in case any of the national news wants to use this and air it without my consent. My video dressing my favorite former coworker, Harrison Butker, has popped off. And I'm about it, because now I am a voice for the people that he attacked. And since the mainstream media is going to use whatever content they want, I thought I might as well dress up and give them a formal speech. It has never been about whether or not a woman should stay home with her family. If that is the best decision for her, do you. If you want to have a career, do you. If you want to do both, pop off, do you. My issue lies when entitled men in positions of privilege, such as Harrison Butker, uses a graduation speech to put a woman in her place instead of congratulating her on her accomplishments. Are you shocked at some of his public supporters? I was not, because something these people all have in common: privilege. The harsh reality is that majority of
So what she's saying is Harrison Butker now has the privilege to be doxxed by his own team that he plays for, the professional organization, the Kansas City Chiefs, who we'll get to in a minute, which was covered by Glenn Beck, that the Missouri AG is actually looking at potentially suing the Kansas City Chiefs for what they did. They're actively investigating on who that person was who leaked out the information of what the city was where he lives. Second, the privilege of having crazy women search for your wife online so they can shame her, which we'll also get to, because there's viral posts about people who are trying their hardest to figure out who his wife is so they can attack her. The privilege to be called simultaneously an anti-Semite, a racist, a white supremacist, and a bigot, a misogynist, like that's the real privilege. Come on, dude. Come on, man. It's like no one's buying this, dude. And again, in this video, like, it is so performative. I honestly kind of want to know, like, how long did it take her to make something like that? Like, how long did it take you to dance up and think of all these little nice, cute and gay quips so you could sit there and be like, see, I'm giving a speech just like him. Like, it's almost like women intuitively understand what will make regular straight men the most angry, and they just do it. At least that's what the seemingly feeling I get from this. But let's watch the rest of it.
Americans cannot support their family on a single income. Those little bundles of joys are expensive. So telling a bunch of women that that's when their life begins, well, I guess it depends if they're privileged or not. Baffles.
And that's the big lie, right? Like, that's the big lie, is like, you honestly, truly don't need that much money to make things work. Will it be hard and you got to kind of cut out some luxuries? Like, yes. But here she is pushing the big lie that children's are like, they're just an expensive accessory, right? Like, that's how these people view these things. And it's just so sad to me. I got another, what in the world? Oh, what's up, world? Butker is one of 32 kickers on the planet with a job in the NFL. Nothing about an athlete at the top level in the world is privileged. Well, yeah, exactly right. Someone who has reached the absolute pinnacle of athleticism. There's like probably like 64 spots if you count all the backups, but most teams don't even keep backups because they want to have extra cap space for other positions. So you're right. Like, This is a guy who has 1 out of 32 possible positions he could have, period. And he worked for that. And then to act as if he was privileged to be placed there is an insane kind of framing, right? It's like, it's like, what are you using to to estimate someone's privilege? And to me, it's seemingly just like the fact that he's a man. He's a white man, right? And that's the framing these people can seemingly only understand, which is sad.
Me that people think that social media has like warped this speech into something it's not. If you think that, you should go watch the 20-minute long speech, and I promise you, you're going to be sweeping your jaw off the floor by the end. Why are none of his...
Whoa, sweeping. Whoa, isn't that misogynist? Why would the woman be sweeping? Come on now, don't tell the woman to get back in the kitchen.
Supporters talking about the part of the speech where he condemns a woman's right to her access to healthcare, such as abortion, IVF, surrogacy, and birth control, or the part where he called gay people deadly sinners and mocked their Pride Month. That's low. Other thing we have in common, Harrison, is we are both Catholics.
That's the part that gets me, dude. Every time, dude. She's a Joe Biden Catholic. That's the only thing I can understand from that. Like, what do you mean? It's low. Wow. A Christian said his worldview out loud, what he thinks about the world. That's low. Shut your mouth, Christian. I'm also Catholic. Dude, you can't make this stuff up, dude. But to me, it is like, what kind of loops or hoops do you have to jump through to think like this?
And I want everyone to know that our God preaches love and not hate. Many people are
entirely false. Like, entirely false. God hates a lot of things, dude. God can't even look at sin. Dude, the fact that it even talks about how God had to turn his face away during the crucifixion because of the culmination of sin. These people don't read their Bible. And honestly, one of the best calls to rebuke someone out for public sin is when they're sitting there espousing very, very disgusting, evil ideology. And then they cap it with, I'm also a Christian. That's when you go, no. You ain't my kind of Christian. That's the public rebuke. You go, no, dude. You're not going to sit here and subvert and pervert what Christianity is. Whatever you're saying is some perverted imitation of what I do believe. And no amount of you sitting there with a rainbow flag trying to tell me women should be pastors and that everything Harrison did is evil and wrong takes it away from the Bible, dude. No part of that comes from the word of God. No part of it comes from the Catholic Church. Now, albeit some of the popes and a little bit of the upper levels have had some kind of weird instances, but regardless, God doesn't preach hate. That's a very, very basic and simple concept that you would be like, what are you talking about? Do you not understand? Do you not understand the nature of the fallen world and sin? But I digress. Let me not get on too much of a tangent with that. I go back and finish it. We got like 30 seconds.
Are asking if there's going to be any consequences for Harrison Butker. And I can tell you now, the answer is no. Because he is a Super Bowl winning kicker. He is a privileged male athlete, and like many other privileged male athletes, he is untouchable. Female athletes do not have that luxury.
Untouchable. This woman making a video that has going to have millions of views, 50,000 likes on it. You can see from here. I'm sure it has more now at this point. Untouchable. What does untouchable mean to you? Can you give me a definition? like I think we're using a completely different English dictionary from each other because you keep saying words that I don't think you understand. Like, man.
We cannot speak out about controversial topics without risking our reputation and our career. Well, there you have it. Can't wait to see if my jersey sales increase.
You know what? Like, and this is insane, okay? So listen to this, right? Listen to this literally very last portion. Not about the jersey sales, I don't care. Women can't speak out about controversial topics, women athletes, without risking our reputation and our career. What is she doing then right now? Is this not her speaking out? Is this her risking her reputation, taking the mainstream stance, taking the Kansas City Chiefs, her own employer stance, taking the NFL stance, taking the White House administration stance? What? Yeah, her ignorance to her own privilege is hilarious. Right. This is somebody who's like, I'm wondering, quite honestly, am I going to get like a fact check in a couple of days where it's like, this is actually all satire? This woman was just joking. It was actually completely fake. Because then I would like, okay, it was kind of funny because it was really performative. But I think she's being for real, dude, seeing how it's picked up steam. But that's what I mean, right? Like these people get in these like, they hold these positions where you have to literally make like logistical, backflips to make the logic make sense from A to B to C to D. And apparently it's privileged if I'm the one who calls that out. So, well, I guess I'm not a kicker. So maybe I'm not privileged if I call that out, right? And so we get more pieces of this, okay? And so I had a little note here. It's like women like this are literal cancer. Agreed with myself. This is from Jew Hernandez, right? So there's more to this, right? There's everyone coming out the woodworks, okay? This is apparently privileged. Now this one was a bit less on point with the specifics of what he said. This one was just like a pure emotional wine mom Karen reaction. And even it's from the I've Had It podcast. They say his LDE is showing, which, okay, vulgar warning everybody. LDE means little dick energy. It's just a very common thing women do. When the women who will sit here and herald body shaming is a terrible thing are the first ones to say LDE. Every time. We'll be the first ones to say it every single time. So, pull this up here. Okay, watch this, dude, because this one was just a crazy. This is from Drew Hernandez. I found this. Drew Hernandez quoted this one. He might have clipped it even.
The kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, who has got to be the most sexist, white supremacist dick I have ever seen in my life. Watch this.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
I fucking hate.
Well, okay. And this is the one thing I didn't understand. What is white supremacist about that? He didn't say one thing about whites need to go procreate. White women need to go do this. Whites. But again, everybody at this point understands that's just the common, that's the smear, that's the say anything Christian, say anything conservative, that's the go-to. White supremacist. White supremacist. Like, but the way they talk about it, like the way he's just like, he's not even speaking to a specific woman. Now, granted, he's speaking to a class of women, okay? He's speaking generally, right? Like he's speaking about what he views about the world and what he believes. And he was invited to give his commencement speech. And and just him saying what he believes is enough to qualify him as a dick? Like, I'm sorry, like, what?
Hate him. It's unbelievable that at a time, this last football cycle, where all of these women are attracted to the NFL because of Taylor Swift. Right. And here's this incredibly successful woman, Taylor Swift, that has this amazing work ethic. And then I forget that this type of person exists everywhere. And this is evangelical Christianity. What he said is so disrespectful.
So they know it. They know it. She said it out loud. She actually said the quiet part out loud. I didn't catch this the first time I watched this video. This is evangelical Christianity. She hates it. She hates Christianity. Especially when you come off the rip and you say he's a dick. He's a white supremacist. Like, terrible person. Like, I would go out on a limb to say that this woman is possessed with some level of demon, whether that's tier 1 through 10, who knows? But you point it out and be like, the reason he's saying these things to women is because of Christianity, means that like she has an awareness that like she's not even more angry at Harrison. She's more angry at what Christianity is, by making the point, and I'll go back a little bit, by even making the point that They're everywhere. It exists everywhere. These type of people exist everywhere. I'll play it again.
And here's this incredibly successful woman, Taylor Swift, that has this amazing work ethic. And then I forget that this type of person exists everywhere. And this
Exists everywhere. I know. Christians everywhere. Isn't that such a drag?
this is evangelical Christianity.
She knows what it is. Look at that. Look at that sneer. She's loaded it up, dude. She gonna hack a spit. And looking at that nose, I'd wager to say she's Jewish.
What he said is so disrespectful to such a large portion of women, and it's so dismissive. I hope that he is canceled to hell and back, and I feel so sorry that his wife has to sleep with him.
It's disgusting. But if you want some insight into like, well, you know, how are all these women like have these views, and like what's wrong with like all these younger women? And it's like, well, I mean, does your daughter listen to garbage content like this? Does your daughter just, buying into stuff like, and to be fair, I think a lot of the younger generations are kind of being a bit more keen to what the going ons of the world is happening. So especially when you see some of the data showing that Gen Z is, not Gen Z, forgive me, or maybe it was Gen Z. Gen Z is actually a tick more conservative than the last like 20 generations. So perhaps there's a white pill to be had with that, seeming how there is kind of a big split between like either Gen Z is very, very hardcore Zoomer, like progressive egalitarian, or they're like the dissident right, like Groyper kind of like openly homophobic, openly don't care. And so that's a kind of a white pill, and the fact that there is a growing faction of younger people who are unwilling to pick up with this stuff. But I mean, this is just like, it was relentless, dude. It was like I was seeing people out the woodworks come out and be angry at a guy for speaking Christian values at a graduation. And to think of all the things that you could be angry about. No one, like we just talked about the Indiana boy story. Do you think anyone is going to even care at all for the life of them for what happened in that situation nearly as much as they care about just mean words? It's a joke, dude. And I'm supposed to like, I'm supposed to like respect these people. Like, it just makes it hard, man. Like I'm trying to be a good Christian, dude. But you put all these people in my life, bro. It's like, God, you test me, dude. Like, I guess that's the only way, man. Like I'm just gonna start laughing openly. Like, what is this garbage? Like, okay, go live alone. And then honestly, to be fair, they both do look like sad wine moms, and they probably are either divorced or have issues in their families. And I'm not saying that anyone deserves anything like that, but it makes sense to understand why they would wish to extend their misery to other people and live the lives that they have. It saddens me to no end. But we get some more here. And these are, I mean, dude, like, we just have a loop of these. I have so many because I bookmarked a bunch of them. These are supposed Chiefs fans. I was almost at a loss of words. I sat and I quote tweeted what I'm about to show you. And it's these girls kind of doing this skit on TikTok where it's like The Handmaid's Tale. It's like, oh, woe is me. Like the last thing I could ever wish for is a husband. Like, it's hilarious, dude. But these are supposed Chiefs fans, so give it a watch.
We're Chiefs fans, or at least I think we are. We can't see the TV from the kitchen.
We're Chiefs fans. Of course all my sons are Irish twins.
We're Chiefs fans.
If you didn't get that, that was her like being beat or spanked. And so she put like a bag of frozen peas to sit down. I've been catching some of these references because I grew up in a no old-timey kind of place.
I can actually cook.
We're Chiefs fans. What we bring to the table are appetizers.
Shoot, how am I gonna make this for 300 people?
Oh, no. If you just double that, but then subtract 3 times of that and substitute...
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
We're Chiefs fans. Of course we're homophobic.
But you've dated women.
No, that was before I was a Chiefs fan. I prayed that away.
Like, they have taken the most egregious examples of what like a 1950s life is, stripped it from its origins of Christianity in the traditional, set and what the matrimony of marriage is supposed to represent. And they are now, I guess, strawmanning what Harrison Butker said by making a mockery of a lot of things he didn't say. It's odd because it's like, well, when, did Harrison sit there and tell these groups of women that they need to make sure that they all sit there and wait for their husbands to give them permission to speak? No. He said they're going to truly love and enjoy, and they will appreciate what marriage is. And in fact, he believes that most women's lives truly don't start. Like, it was all positive light. He wasn't sitting there saying like women need to do this, women need this, women need this. He was speaking from his viewpoints, what he believes the positives of this are. Didn't make mention to any of this kind of stuff. But they take it as, because the message, anytime someone goes, I'm a Christian, I'm this, the left has trained these people like good little doggies to only hear what they want to hear. So when they hear Christian values, they hear, he wants to own me as a sex slave. And there's really not much you can do. These people, they have phones, they have this. You have the summation of all human knowledge is in this thing, dude. As long as you're connected to the internet, you can just type something in to Google and look it up. But they refuse to do that. They refuse to care. They will forever only parrot back the spoon-fed opinions of the mainstream media back out to them. And that is because the institutions, for one, everyone knows that the left has invaded these institutions. But the main fact is that these institutions are the leverage, right? Like, as long as the institutions will back these mainstream opinions, these people will be as free and feel as encouraged to take these stances as possible. It won't change until we give or start aligning some kind of disincentive or incentive system away from things like this. But it's impossible to do that when you have zero control over institutions. So you're kind of stuck only with word of mouth and hoping with self-epiphany that these people can kind of come and understand like what should be versus what shouldn't be.
We're Chiefs fans. Of course we've had lobotomies.
Did I go to college? These must have been pictures from before your life began. Oh my God.
We're Chiefs fans. Of course we're pro-life.
Wait, didn't you just?
Yeah, he made me whenever he found out it was a girl.
We're Chiefs fans. If this isn't a boy, this might be the last time anyone sees me.
Right. So I think everyone can agree, like, oh, okay, they hate men. I don't think they really hold any other value besides they hate men, right? But this is relentless. This stuff was relentless, and I'm seeing it everywhere. I just grabbed some of the best ones that I saw from other people that were quoting. Now, for some non brain rot that you can actually listen to without killing yourself, forgive me. Nope, in a video game. I don't mean that. Nobody means that. Okay, so this is from Glenn Beck, and this was from literally before I was crafting the outline this morning. So I found this, and so it says just make sure my face is up here. It says that the Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has told over the phone they may take Kansas City to court for doxing the Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker over his religious beliefs. And the quote they have is, "We need to make sure government resources aren't being weaponized to push a radical, progressive, discriminatory agenda." Well, amen, dude. Amen. That is a beautiful thing to finally see an attorney general do something. Like, do something, dude. I mean, Tim Pool brings up this point all the time with all these AGs who there's all of these impeachable offenses they don't do these things over. There's all of these crimes that these Democrats have committed that you don't see any AG go after. And it's because, these, whoever they are, Republicans, they would rather appease the public perception of what the New York Times may write about them than they would care about furthering the interests of their constituents. And that's just the sad, corrupt game of politics and who you vote for. But I did want to go ahead and watch this and show you what they said about it. It's just a phone call and it's only 2 minutes long.
We're not going to let city officials in Kansas City who doxed Harrison Butker in retaliation for his free expression of his faith, of his religious beliefs. We're not going to let them violate the Missouri Human Rights Act that it exists in order to prohibit that kind of discriminatory behavior. And you're right. I mean, if anybody has watched the commencement address itself, I would commend it for everybody to view. Yeah. It's a fabulous speech. And you know what he says at the beginning? You know what Harrison Butker says? He says the left wants to drive free expression of Christian beliefs from public discourse. And that's exactly what's happening. Yes. And that's what the left is doing to Harrison Butker. Now, the problem from a state law perspective is when the city of Kansas City, using an official Twitter account, publishes Harrison Butker's residence. Why did they do that? In retaliation. The government can't retaliate against someone for the free expression of their faith. And that's what's going on here. And suddenly, I'm the bad guy. Quentin Lucas, the mayor of Kansas City, within the last 72 hours, has fired off an incendiary letter to me, accusing me of fanning the flames of racial discord. Like, what?
Wow.
That has nothing to do with it. You know you're doing the right thing when the left baselessly plays the race card. So somehow my enforcement of the statute intended to prevent discrimination is discriminatory to the mayor of Kansas City. Makes zero sense. That's when you know you're doing the right thing. We're going to fight for all Christians or any faith community's ability to have free expression of their religious belief protected by the Constitution and the laws of the state of Missouri.
And what do you...
One thing I will say right now, it is such a white pill to hear the AG have that much fervor behind what he actually feels because of what's happening. And, you know, it could be maybe a little bit of a home field bias, because I would imagine if you're the Missouri AG, you probably are like a home field Kansas City fan. And so when you see this kind of thing happening to someone you actively root for and then watch as the own team that you root for turn against him, he's like, nah, dude, I'm taking this dude's side. I'm a Christian. These are my beliefs. No. We're not playing this game. Everything he said was true. Like, that was awesome. Like, that was like he had a fire underneath him. And I find it so rare that we get these kinds of emotional kind of outbursts from the men in a position of like anti the wokeness, anti the progressive nature, that it's like, it's cathartic to me, because I feel like it's just, you normally get the, well, slow down there, Democrats. Like that's the normal level of emotional fervor behind how they react to what Democrats do. That was a breath of fresh air, and I really appreciated that. But there's about another 30 seconds left.
What are you going for on that, Andrew?
We've demanded accountability and transparency there, too. We've demanded documents about who manages this social media account, who has access to it, why this post was tweeted out when it was. We need to make sure that there's guardrails in place to ensure that, the government resources aren't being weaponized to push a radical, progressive, discriminatory agenda in violation of state law. And if we have to, we'll go to court and get an injunction to put a stop to it.
We will get an injunction and put a stop to it. And I really hope that they do. And seeing how that happened, like, you know, probably only 2 hours ago, that'd be like 4 hours ago at this point, if not a little bit more than that. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it picks up. I hope that people just start dumping in money to help whatever person needs to. I'm sure you won't even need money if the AG picks it up and they prosecute on their own end. So you wouldn't even need money for a legal fund. You would just need to make sure that the prosecutors are doing what they should be doing to help get this taken care of. Particularly because I believe it was a single individual, or actually no, it's two individuals who operate that social media account that Harrison Butker was doxxed from. Straight to jail, dude. Straight to jail. Like, that's so uncool, dude. Just because this man said, this is how I feel about life, and I love Christianity, and I think that you guys should follow these values too. They were like, we're going to tell everyone where you live so people can come find you and attack your family. That's evil, bro. That's pure evil. Now, there's so much with Harrison Butker. I don't even know if we're going to be able to move off of it at this point. And what I mean by, you know, the going after people and the doxing stuff too, because there's such an insane level of nature to the way women act and react to these kinds of things. So, for example, let's see. Yes, it's this one. Let me pull this up here. This is a girl, is a huge tweet, right? Let's go down here. You see that 1.7 million views, and there's more than this too. I saw a couple of them that posted the same thing. Checked Harrison Butker's Instagram to see who the woman was who'd put up with this stuff, and not one mention. Showing, dude, proving that Harrison Butker made the right choice with his social medias to not have his family or kids or wife at all visible on it. Because what's that? He said his worldview. Here comes all these crazy women, dude. Crazy women coming to hunt her down, dude. It's insane. It's almost like what he did was the right thing to do. But just to show you, like, it's who made you like this? Right? Like who made these people like this? Who made this woman like this? And now I'm glad, because this post did get quoted by a bigger account and got called out for it. So I think that's kind of died off, but it just shows the religious nature of what we are as Christians opposing. These people believe in it with a fervor, with a faith against Christianity. I don't even know what they truly do believe in outside of progressivism and egalitarianism. I think it's honestly, they just blanketedly believe in utilitarianism without understanding what that honestly is. And what you get for saying that is, we're going to come after your wife. We're going to say you're privileged while you get smeared across all media. You're now going to feel unsafe with your employer. And the thing is like, he doesn't care. And just to show you that he doesn't care, I have this one. This is from Nick Adams, saying he's the last of the alpha males. This is Harrison Butker on what he would do if he was to be vaccinated, or if he was going to be forced to be vaccinated.
For me, I just felt in my situation, I talked to my wife, and I was fully okay with stepping away from football. I was like, I'm going to stick to my principles.
Wow.
I'm not going to compromise. And if this is my last season, then so be it. For me, I just felt,
if this was my last season, so be it. So be it. What more masculine words can you say besides someone tell you, like, hey man, if they're going to do this, they're coming after you. So be it. Like, that's, oh dude. Like, that's like, that's masculine catharticism right there, dude. Like, that'll get me shouting in the theater, especially if you get some good movies and masculine stuff. But that stuff doesn't exist anymore. Hollywood's so fake and gay, and it just shoves transgender, queer, sexual, pansexual relationships, and we'll get a bit of that to the tag end. But I mean, look at this. Like, he's just this guy. He's literally is the Chad Wojak meme. You know, like the blonde white dude who's like, yes, that's who this guy is. He doesn't care. Come after him, dude. And especially now at this point, like, he's got the money made, or I'm sure he's got money made. Like, come after him, dude. He will not. This guy was not. He's not in a position to be desperate to do things out of his principles or out of his principality. It's awesome stuff, and I wish we truly had like more men who behaved in this way. And that's what we need. And I'm going to sit here and stand for Harrison Butker. I'd get a jersey, but I just don't have the extra money to spare for a Chiefs jersey, because I'm a Chargers fan. And I just, like, I mean, you know, it's conflict of interest, man. Like, I just can't do the Chiefs jersey, but support this, dude. I support this 100%. Everything he said, I stand by completely, and I would stand with him if I could. I wish it didn't have to be this way, but until it's not, we have to be the bold ones who stand alongside this. Like, I'm willing to get attacked by random women, dude. Here, ready? Call me ugly, dude. Call me fat. Call me, I'm not your type. Oh, I'm a white man. Call me little dick energy. I don't care, dude. Not a thing that you could do would make me walk away or turn my back away from the values that man just espoused. Not a thing, dude. Not a thing. Ready? So be it. Like, I don't care. And until we get the majority of men to act like this and be like this and pursue the excellence of what man should be, which is what Harrison Butker has installed in his life, we got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing and fight back against it too. The only final thing I'll put on this is a little notice here too, because I think some people saw it. I think even my wife saw this too. There was a little post that said that Andy Reid had come out in defense of Harrison Butker. It is entirely fake. It was quoted that Reed said, "I'm due to retire, and if that's what it takes," saying like he'll draw the line there, and that he'll go if Harrison Butker goes. Entirely fake. Don't buy into it. As far as I've seen, Andy Reid hasn't put out a single statement by himself. There's also another post floating around too. That is, I'll put on stand, yeah. And there's another post going around that said like Travis Kelce will retire if Harrison Butker's on the team. That one is also fake. So two different, one to appease leftists, one to appease conservatives. They're both fake. So if you see those, just understand they're from like satire sites and they got spread out on X because people like cheap and easy money. Yeah, so be it. I'm gonna start using that more now that I said that. Also, I'm glad you're in here, Whirl. I literally checked out one of your videos not too long ago. I'll have to actively engage with your stuff now too. I appreciate you being in here, brother. I was just surprised you even saw my stuff, to be fair, but I think you follow me on X. Let's move off of Harrison Butker because I think I beat the absolute crap out of that one.